over the summer months, and there's more to come. So we've announced that we're on strike today and on Monday, and then after that, we're going to ramp it up. And we're going to increase the number of strike days in a week, because we need to really show the company that it's our members that are actually completing the work. They're the ones that are running the company, they're the ones that are creating the profit, and they need to be shown the due respect. So I just want to touch on, for the first time in the last strikes a couple of weeks ago, we actually removed the exemption for 999 workers. And that was a really difficult decision for us to make. But those 999 workers are some of the lowest paid in the company. They only earn just above the minimum wage. The company's not prepared to pay them anymore. And imagine the job that they had during the pandemic and every day dealing with distressed people ringing those 999 calls. That's a disgrace. Those members wanted to take action, and we are supporting them. And they're out again today, and we are supporting them, because they have the right to strike. So I know there's a lot of speakers this morning. We've got some fabulous speakers. We've got fantastic support from our sister unions. So I'm going to hand over to Chris to introduce the next speakers. But my wholehearted thanks as the president of this union for the solidarity and support that you've shown today and are showing throughout the strikes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. So, our next speaker is Captain Tesman, a leader of one of our sister unions, a fantastic friend of the CWU. You've seen the refuse lorries coming down here this morning, showing that solidarity. The leader of the GMB, Garen Smith.
Well, everybody, let's make some noise, everybody. Solidarity with the CWU. Absolutely delighted to bring you greetings from the members at City Clean, the Brighton Refuse and Street Cleaning Workers, who are no strangers to struggle themselves. I was a young official in the city 25 years ago. We occupied that depot to bring the biggest 2p transfer back in-house. 300 workers being privatised, and those workers have never forgotten the spirit of solidarity and what it is like to win. And let me tell you, your dispute and the disputes that have broken out all over this country, we are going to win, because your employers and the Tory government do not understand one thing about this country, that post the pandemic, everything changed, because people in this country realised that hidden army of millions of low-paid workers who we depend upon to provide essential services, people knew their true worth and value. And whether you're chief executive and whether what's left of the shambolic Tory government accepts it or not, the people of this country are behind us and the thousands of other disputes. Solidarity to the postal workers, solidarity to all the members in the CWU in struggle. You know today you are not on your own. This is a fantastic turnout, and GMB will be standing with you all the way. This government, this company, they know the price of everything and the value of nothing. This is about jobs. This is about union organisation. This is about a universal postal service and a vital public service. Stick with it. Let's win.
Fantastic. We just got one logistical issue. So we've got an ambulance that needs to get through, and then the police are shutting the road. So people just create a little bit of a gap for a second. That'd be brilliant. We'll let the ambulance through, and then the police are shutting the road at the top. You just give us a minute to do that. I'll give Dave a chance to finish his interview as well. I know, look at that, brilliant, eh? I wish we could park more men like that. Ambulance is changed, right? Yeah, he's blind. Yeah, everything you've been through there, mate.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Thank you, everyone. Thank you for that. Got the emergency vehicle back. So, our next speaker, as I said, we're going to introduce Karen. We've got 40,000 BT and Openreach workers on strike today. We've got a CEO who took a pay package of £3.5 million and then turns around to the workers and imposes a pay offer on them. Our members have rejected that in a huge 74% turnout, a 95% yes vote. Our members in BT and Openreach smashed the anti-union laws. Really, really proud to introduce our Deputy General Secretary, Andy Kerr.
I don't mind getting wet for a little while. Some of us all got to suffer. Thanks very much for coming along here this morning. It's really great to see such a great turnout. And I bring absolute solidarity for all the CWU members who work for BT and Openreach across this country, to our Royal Mail colleagues. So well done to everybody who's here today. I know we're going to get a bit wet, but it is worth it. I'll just say a few words, as Chris has just said there. We've been dealing with BT. I've actually dealt at a national level with BT for over 30 years. We've never had a day's strike action until this year. 35 years ago was the last time we had industrial action in BT. Because with peace and harmony, we negotiated through it. We got through many struggles over that period of time, but we always managed to get a deal. What's changed? As I said, I've been here for 30 years. I've not bloody changed. The CWU has not changed. What's changed is the leadership at BT. And the man at the top, Mr. Jansen, or as we call him, Food Bank Phil, because he's got food banks and call centres, because the call centre workers can't afford from 1 month to another to feed themselves. We've actually got food banks and call centres. It's a bloody disgrace. This man, who Chris has just said, earned last year 3.5 million. But it's comforting. Earned 1.3 billion pounds last year after tax. And they've gave away to the shareholders 761 million pounds. And then he imposes on my members 1,500 quid. Well, it's not bloody good enough. And we're going to fight all the way. We're quite clear we'll take this Cam said earlier. We've already had 6 days. This is our 7th day of action. We're back out on Monday. And we'll go out and force the length and breadth of this country. Well, I made it clear. We made it clear the other night when we were doing one of our Facebook Live sessions. We're going to wrap this up. In the next few weeks, we'll announce further action. And we will bring this company down. This company is suffering. No matter what I say, the intimidation they're doing to our members. We will fight back and we will support any rep that's intimidated or suspended by the management. We will support them all the way, 100%. And all the CWU members will be behind us. It sickens me that we, the CWU, when this government are saying to other people, get to the unions, get around the table, you have to discuss and negotiate with employers. I've been asking to debate and discuss Jansen for the last 3 months. He's refused to come to the table. He's scared. He won't go to the television. He won't go to the media. And I don't know why the media don't bloody drag him there. And ask him the questions. Rather than asking me the questions while we're on strike. Ask him the questions on why can't he pay our workers a decent pay rise. That's the question that should be asked. This is an absolute disgrace from a company such as this in this country. Now, I'll just say this. The CWU, a great union, we've had most of our members out in strike today. But we are absolutely here. We support all workers in strike, no matter where they are. Whether it's the GMB, whether it's UCU, whether it's NEU, whether it's the health workers if they go on strike, whether it's the rail workers. We'll be on the picket lines and we will join any picket line. And I'll say this to the government. And I'll say this to the opposition too. It's time you got off your bloody arses and got on the picket lines at the same time. There was great support for some Labour MPs But it should be every Labour MP should be out there or joining their picket lines to length and breadth of this country. And Starmer has to get off his knees and start to argue back. But I'm finishing this. This TUC this week, there's been great solidarity in that hall down to seafront. Great solidarity. All the unions coming together. But that's very good. Words are good, but we need to turn that into action. So over the next few weeks and months, there's going to be strikes up and down this country. And we have to stick together as workers. So solidarity to us all. Keep up the good work. I have every faith that we will win our dispute in Royal Mail. And I have every faith that we will win our dispute in BT. And thanks very much for your support today.
Well, Andy, brilliant, buddy. So, we should probably apologise for the weather a little bit. I'm very disappointed, by the way, all the Royal Mail members here. That not many of you got your shorts on. That's a little bit disappointing to us. But anyway, our next speaker is another trade union leader. Our teachers, our education staff done such an incredible job to look after the children and the people in this country. And yet again, they are another group of workers that have been shafted by this government and shafted by employers. Really, really proud to bring words of solidarity from the leader of the National Education Union, Kevin Courtney.
Thanks, Chris. This is Liquid Sunshine. I'm here to say victory to the postal workers, victory to the BT workers. The multi-millionaire Simon Thompson should be sitting down and talking with your trades union and looking for a deal. We know, because everyone in the country knows, because the CWU has told us, the company made £758 million in profits last year. It gave £400 million to shareholders. It can afford to give you a pay deal. So victory to the postal workers is what I say. And I tell you what, people around the country are supporting you, and strikes aren't always popular. But your strike's popular. The RMT strikes are popular. When we go on strike, and we are balloting and we will be on strike, our strikes will be popular as well. And I tell you the reason why is that everyone in this country is facing the same pinch right now. We are heading into a moment of social crisis in this country where thousands of people will not be able to switch the heating on this winter, where thousands of people will go hungry, where hundreds of thousands will not be able to make ends meet as their mortgage costs go up. And why? Because the bosses have been holding our pay down and down and down since 2010. The longest squeeze on wages for 200 years in this country. And as Mick Lynch and Dave have been telling the media, that's got to stop. The economy has to be put right. Value has to come back to working people. They've got 400 million quid profit. It should be shared with you. You deserve the pay rise. And our teachers deserve a pay rise. School support staff deserve a pay rise. Those nurses and midwives deserve a pay rise. All of them need to have the pay rise. And now they're worrying about the economy going into a recession. Well, if we've got no bloody money, how can we spend anything in the shops? Of course there'll be a recession, unless we put this right. They are in chaos in government. And that means with your popular strikes, your fantastic union, the other unions showing solidarity, we can win. It doesn't always feel like we can win, but we can bloody beat them. You can beat them. You can beat the Royal Mail. You can get that pay rise you deserve. The BT workers can defeat BT. We can defeat the government over that teacher pay rise and funding for our schools. The midwives and the nurses, they find it harder to take action, and they need your support as well. And you taking action and supporting them. We're all in it together, not the way George Osborne ever said. Working people are all in it together. You deserve that pay rise. Victory to the postal worker.
Well, can try this, Mike. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the posties now, the fantastic posties who keep the country connected. Want to say and introduce our next speaker. Our Deputy General Secretary, Terry Plunger, is currently off sick, so we want to give a big shout out to Terry Plunger and wish him well. Hope he gets back ASAP. Stepping in Terry's absence is our Acting Deputy General Secretary, Andy Fury, doing a fantastic job, giving you an update on the dispute. Over to you, Andy.
Morning, Brighton. Morning, CWU. Morning, postal and telecom workers. Morning, TUC. It's great to see everybody here today. Absolutely fantastic turnout. Royal Mail, they are a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
Our members kept Royal Mail going throughout the pandemic, kept the country connected, along with our BT and Openreach workers in terms of broadband and keeping the country connected on mobile, digital, telecoms. But Royal Mail, absolute disgrace. Simon Thompson, what about him? What about him? He's incredible, isn't he? Let's have a boo for Simon Thompson. Yeah. And he thinks you're only worth 2%. 2% on a postal worker's wage. Our members are not overpaid. Our members are not greedy. All they want is a fair deal. A fair deal to be able to pay the bills and keep the roof over their head and put food on the table. That's not unreasonable. And bearing in mind, our members are out 6 days a week in weather like this throughout the whole of the year. All weathers, hot weathers, rain, snow, delivering to 32 million addresses every day of the week for a universal service obligation. We want to protect that service. We want to defend that service, and we believe in the customer. It's Simon Thompson who wants to break up his company, he wants to dismantle it, he wants to outsource it, and he wants to chew people out. That's why he's attacking our terms and conditions, our agreements and our jobs. He also wants, disgracefully, only last Friday, he turned up at the stock exchange and announced 10,000 job losses. 10,000 jobs of our members across the UK that deliver day in, day out. Parcel force delivering, we deliver more parcels than any other courier across the whole of the United Kingdom. We keep this country connected. We are in touch with the public day in, day out. And we can't afford to lose 10,000 jobs. And he's got the temerity to say compulsory redundancy. We want to give him the compulsory redundancy and sack him. The message from Dave Ward and myself is, Thompson, get round that bargaining table. We will thrash out a deal. We will embrace reasonable change, change that is balanced, measured, proportionate and fair. But we're not going to embrace his change programme. His change programme expects our members to start 3 hours later every day and finish 3 hours later. That is completely unreasonable, but it also doesn't make sense. We should be out on the doorsteps of the houses and the flats, day in, day out, delivering to the public first thing in the morning. And we should be leveraging that unique service obligation of being out there connected with the community, society. Simon Thompson, you're a wrong one. You've got to go. Thanks very much. Solidarity.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant. Andy, thank you, everyone. We've just got a few speakers left now, so stick with us, a few excellent speakers. The next one is another trade union leader, another trade union fighting, another trade union holding a national ballot. They're going to get the result of this Monday. I know they're going to smash that ballot. I know you're all going to be right behind them. Please welcome General Secretary of the UCU, Joe Grady.
Hi, everyone. Before I even say anything, I just wanted to bring from UCU absolute solidarity to the CWU. We know what it's like to have bosses that are slowly unravelling on social media. Yes, I've seen Simon's Facebook post like you have. You know, bosses who are more interested in attacking the union, decimating the company, and absolutely not concerned in the way that I know you are in the communities that we serve and that you keep connected. So it's a victory to you, but it's also a victory to the railway workers, victory to our education workers. There's 3,000 of them on strike at the minute in colleges. Can we hear it for them? Victory to every single worker who is taking strike action in order to just be paid what they need to survive. And there's a common theme when we think about all these workers. So I trust my college lecturer, I trust my local postie, and when I'm on a train, I trust the train guard to keep us safe and to keep us moving. But you know what? I wouldn't trust the well-being of I wouldn't trust a Tory, with the well-being of my worst enemy. And this is why we're doing what we're doing in the UK at the minute. It might be fun watching the Tories slowly implode, but it changes nothing. They're still in Parliament, they've still got power, and they're still attacking our class as if we don't matter. So there's lots of talk at the minute about balloting, about strikes, and what is important about that is just like the pandemic, these strikes, you know, we could shut down a road if we want, the postal workers can shut down the country and stop it being connected, our railway workers can do the same with travel. The power to change this country is in our hands. And there's a really nice sign down here at the front, which you weren't all able to see. The most important word in the language of the working class is solidarity. So loads of us are here showing you this on this very soggy morning in Brighton. I know that people are going to be on our picket lines when we're having them, not just at the minute in colleges, but for universities and our prison educators. And I know that come Monday, when we become the third union to smash a national ballot, because of all you lovely postal workers carrying solidarity up and down the country and delivering those ballots back to Civica for us, our victory will be your victory, just as your victory in this dispute will be ours. So 100% solidarity, 100% behind you. Victory to the CWU.
Thank you, Joe. Brilliant. From one fighting trade union leader to another, very proud to introduce the General Secretary of the PCS, Mark Sawatka.
Good morning, everyone. Lovely Welsh weather for you all. On behalf of PCS, I'm the General Secretary of PCS. We represent 180,000 civil servants who work in job centres, in the ports, borders, prisons, courts, in the transport system. They send their full solidarity. They hope to be joining you in 2 weeks. We are 4 weeks into a ballot of 155,000 workers. And our pledge to you is, if you're still on strike and we've won our ballot, we will be wanting to join any national days of action that you're taking. Because if we have more unions on strike, it means you can win 100% victory in Royal Mail. Your comrades in BAT can win, lecturers can win, and teachers can win. When we stand together, nothing can stop the power of the workers we represent from gaining justice. So I want to say to you this: when you turn the telly on, when you put the radio on, what you see are bastards who are running this country, whose friends have been selling the pound and making hundreds of millions of quid, while some of you, like our members, will be using food banks, won't be putting the central heating on, and will be worrying about your kids being fed before they go to school. What type of country is it? We can have a Tory leader, not elected by the public, breaking promise after promise, wrecking the economy, and saying yesterday she's going to take on the militant unions. Well, you're telling her, bring it on. RMT members are saying, bring it on. And hopefully UCU members and PCS members will be giving the same message. Because if 45,000 government workers are using food banks, are claiming the benefits that they administer, who are in tears because they are worried about their futures. And if it's the same for you, and it's the same for council workers, there's something wrong in this country. But I tell you what, there's also something right in this country. That is the brave stand that you are making. You are showing what working people are all about. You care about the service. Thompson doesn't give a shit about the postal service. He wants to make money. You cared about the people of Brighton. Where I come from, the postal workers on the picket line of Cardigan in Wales care about the service that they give to the pensioners living in rural communities that they serve so well. So we know about service. We know about delivering the mail, keeping our connectivity going, supporting the welfare state, looking after patients in hospitals. They are working class men and women who are paid a pittance, who they want to drive into poverty and despair. They want to break their unions, and they want a country where we are compliant and we do what we're told when they tell us, and be grateful for the crumbs that they deem to give us. But you know what? You're telling them they can get stuffed. You're telling them we're not having it. And our message to you is a victory for postal workers, is a victory for RMT members and teachers and civil servants and everyone else. So our pledge to you is we stand with you. We want your dispute to be victorious. We want you to go back into work with your heads high, knowing you have defeated the reactionary Thompson and all his ilk. But we also want your colleagues in BT to do the same, and teachers and job centre workers. So here's a thought. You're showing the power of your labour. I hope in 2 weeks' time that our members in the port of Dover will show the government that if 6 French workers going sick means 30-mile queues on the motorways and 24-hour delays, Imagine what 1,000 PCS members on strike for a week at Dover is going to do to the country. So solidarity to you all. You show this country what working people are all about. Your victory will be our victory. Keep your heads high. We hope to join you in a couple of weeks. Victory to the workers and get stuff to the Tories.
Thank you, Mark. Brilliant. So we've got just 3 speakers left and a very special guest appearance. You're going to really enjoy our guest appearance. So just 3 speakers left, everyone. Our next speaker, it's vital. I mean, Mark, Kevin, Joe have all talked about bringing trade unions together and the need for workers to come together and the need for trade unions to be organised at this time. So a very apt next speaker, somebody who is leading that movement, somebody who is getting out there and pushing the cause of workers every single day and has done for a long, long time. Really proud to introduce General Secretary of the TUC, Francis O'Grady.
Thanks very much, Chris. And I've just got to say, it is an absolute honour to bring solidarity on behalf of 6 million workers to the brilliant posties of Brighton. And I also, just before I start, I also just want to pay tribute to your leader, Dave Ward. Now, he may be a Chelsea fan, we'll forgive him that for the minute, but I don't know any leader who has as much integrity, who has as much commitment, and who is as determined that you will win. So please give our thanks to Dave Ward. Now, I know there's a bit, I don't know whether you've been looking in, there's a bit of a circus going on in Westminster yesterday, tonight. I'll say a bit about that later, but what I will say is if there's a silver lining, it's that Liz Truss has finally found out what it's like to be on a 0 hours contract. But the message I want to bring to you today is, just as you've heard from Joe, just as you've heard from Mark and everyone, is that you are not alone. There are workers up and down this country who are fed up to the teeth of being told to tighten our belt, accept real pay cuts when the boardroom is raking it in, when shareholders' dividends are going through the roof, and where bonuses at the top are at record level. And we are saying enough is enough. We're not having it. We're not having it. And you know what it's about? It's about this shower of a Tory government trying to tell working people that trickle-down economics will deliver. Well, you know, this idea that if you give to the rich, if you give to the top, eventually, some of it will trickle down to working families. Well, an Australian friend of mine gave a good definition. They speak in plain language in Australia. He said the definition of trickle down is the rich pissing on the poor. So we are not having that. So I am going to pass on this mic in a minute, but I just want to tell you that you are rock solid. And I tell you what, this employer has met an unstoppable force, because you cannot take on decent men and women standing together for what is right, and the public knows what's right. We all know, we love our posters, we know what's right. You will not stop your union delivering that victory for you. Solidarity, brothers and sisters. Stay strong, stay together.
Thank you, Francis. Brilliant. So it's time to introduce our special guest. We've been parading around the Royal Mail picket lines, the most famous postie in the country, Postman Pat. Oh, give a shout out to Postman Pat, everyone. Well, we've had a letter from a guy who says that they dispute that Postman Pat is the most famous postie. And I want to come to Brighton, and I want to come to the picket line, and I want to address the troops. Please welcome, you normally only see him once a year, the most famous postie, Santa Claus. And he's got a special message, and he wants you to join in with his message. So,
good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've just got a letter to read out from one of my
customers. Dear Santa, from Rosie, age 6.5. My mummy's a postie and she wants something for Christmas. We want Thompson out. Say, we want Thompson out. We want Thompson out. Say, we want Thompson out. We want Thompson out. Say, we want Thompson out. We want Thompson out. Say, we want Thompson out.
Well done, Santa. Thank you very much. See you at Christmas Eve, if we're not on strike. Right, next speaker, our penultimate speaker, is somebody who's been doing an incredible job on behalf of his members, but also on behalf of all working people. I know you want to give a massive welcome to the General Secretary of the RMT, Mick Lynch.
Morning all, morning. I won't keep you long because this sort of weather plays havoc with my hair. I can't do anything with my eyebrows after this. It's great to see you, and it's great to see that Santa is located somewhere in Bethnal Green these days. You seem to have a North Pole accent to me, but there you go. It's great to see you. I'm not going to keep you long. General Secretary's droning on in the rain isn't the best way to run a dispute, in my experience. But it is great to see you. I've just been on the telly with this today's Secretary of State of Transport, and she's implementing chaos theory. They said the libertarianism, now they've gone straight to chaos theory. But what that means for us, and what they're saying about railway workers, the legislation that she's going to be piloting through Parliament, is serious. It's directed straight at transport workers and railway workers in particular. And they are saying, in effect, that during disputes such as this one and the ones that we've got running, they will conscript our members, conscript them against their will to go into work and run the service on behalf of the people that we are opposed to. Now, that is the biggest suppression of civil liberties that I can remember since the police bill that they brought in 6 months ago. So not only will they not allow us to protest against poverty, they won't allow us to strike against the very issues that we're in dispute with. Now, we cannot allow in this country a government of right-wing zealots to tell us, pick out 20 or 30% of the people in this audience here who are on strike and say, you have to cross your own picket line and go to work. And that what is going to happen, if you don't do that, we will fine your union an unlimited amount of money, and we will fine any of you or put you in prison if you don't go to work. Now, this is really the last days of a regime. We must make sure that we get these people out and get them out as quickly as possible. And we've got to do everything we can to make sure that happens. And these disputes are a part of that. These disputes are a legitimate expression of working class anger and working class power. And we've got to make sure that power extends right across our country, from the north of Scotland down to the tip of Cornwall. Every worker in every village, every city, every county, every workplace has got to be organised into the trade union movement. When we've got them into membership, we've got to get them into campaigns. When we've got them into campaigns, we've got to take them into industrial action whenever we can, so that we can rebalance this society in our favour, so that we can end the exploitation, so we can crush outsourcing, so that we can get a square deal for our people. And we will not be divided. The message of these disputes and the message of the anger that we see in our country is that working class people will never be divided. And we don't care what the Tories say. We don't care what the Daily Mail and the Express and all the bigots that run those newspapers say. We don't care what the commentators say. We are the working class. We will not be divided. United we stand. We are an unstoppable force, and we are going to change this country for the better. We are going to win on the railway. We're going to win on the post office. We're going to win at BT, and we're going to win for our people, and we're going to change this country for the better. Victory to the posties, victory to BT, and victory to our class. Thank you very much.
Well, brilliant. So it's come to the last speaker, introduce him, the leader of the CWU, a brilliant trade union leader. I have to say that because he's my boss. I want to say it because I believe it. Please welcome the guy leading 155,000 people on strike today, General Secretary Dave Ward.
Yeah, look, first of all, bring solidarity here from our BT members striking today, our postal workers striking today, our post office workers who have been on strike, to every single worker in this country. All these great trade union leaders here, a simple message from the CWU is this: every worker counts or no worker counts. Do you agree? Now let me just explain a little bit of background to what's going on in BT and Openreach, and you will understand, and the members of the public will understand. And surely, at some point, the Tory party must understand that what's going on in this country is a level of hypocrisy, greed, arrogance at the top of business. When they face issues, the first people they attack is working people. And in BT, we call the CEO now Food Bank Phil. Our members are using food banks, he's using Swiss banks. That's the difference, and he hasn't got the bottle or the integrity to come in the room and negotiate with workers who are struggling like at no other point in their careers. Now, this company made £1.3 billion last year. They chose to give away £750 million to shareholders and then imposed, not negotiated, imposed a deal worth on average 4.8% effectively over last year and this year. Now, that level of greed, that level of misplacement of where you should really be looking after the people, it cannot go on in this country. So solidarity to our BT members out on strike today. Do you agree with that? Let me also say, turning to Royal Mail, I joined the GPO as it was then, back in 1976. So this particular dispute, to see it being what's going on here at the moment, you know, I'm going to say to you guys here today, we will never, ever, ever, ever agree the business plan that Simon Thompson and the board are putting forward. It isn't going to happen. We're going to fight it with every breath in our body. Are you going to join us in that fight? So what we got here, and I can't stand these media people as well. They need to wake up. It's absolutely right that they hold all of us to account when our members are out on strike. But when the leaders of these companies refuse to go in front of the camera to answer that, and they read out these bland statements, this is about modernisation. I'll tell you what it's about, right? This is about destroying the jobs and lives of 120,000 postal workers in this country and the services that we provide to the public. Royal Mail is one of the major contributors to the UK economy. And the only answer in times of difficulty that people on the ball can come up with is this same old crap about levelling down on jobs and they got the front to call it modernisation. Well, I'll tell you what it means to our members who are out on strike today, our posties, loads of them here. Virtually, I think every member from this office is out here at this rally. Give them an applause. What it means is more than 10,000 jobs. And they can only justify the job losses they announced the other day if we accept their business plan. And our members know that. They know that they can't suddenly just wipe out 10,000 people. What they want us to accept is a business plan that is P&O style attack on steroids. Make no doubt, this is the biggest attack on a group of workers in this country since the miners. I have no doubt about that. Please understand what's at stake here. They want to end daily deliveries. They want to replace our members, force them out the door, and they're going to bring in self-employed workers and workers, new starters, on 20% less pay and 3 hour more increased working week. Now that should not be acceptable to any politician, to any member of the public, and to any business in this country. They are destroying one of the greatest companies that has ever been in the UK. And I want to say to you, we are up for modernisation. Bloody hell, the union has put forward all of the ideas on how you expand the role of postal workers, how you start to rebuild local and regional economies, how you start to actually add more social value to what our members already give to this country. It can be done. We can have a successful company, but to do that, you cannot have people who are only interested in pacifying the major shareholders. It's as simple as that. And their business plan is to turn Royal Mail into a gig economy style parcel business. And as I keep saying, and Thompson, who is unravelling in front of our eyes, anybody who's seen his latest video, you know, I'm actually starting to feel sorry for the fella. Not really. I thought I better say that, in case he turns up in talks, which he won't, by the way, because I think he's on his way out. Do you want him out? Look, let me turn to the wider issues that are facing all of our workers in this country today. The biggest problem that workers face is there is an imbalance of power, an imbalance of wealth, and it permeates through every single worker industry in this country. It's the way that the economy is rigged against us, and it is the reason why there are inequalities at a level that we see in this country that must be unacceptable to everybody. And there's only one answer to it. You've got to mobilise workers now. We have got to come together like never before. And I agree with everybody here who's made this point. When workers come together, they cannot be defeated. Do you agree with that? So look, let's mobilise. Let's win for the country. Let's win decent jobs. Let's win high wages. Let's win an economy that grows with workers at the core of it. Do you agree with that? Thank you.
Well, and Dave, so it just leaves us to say thank you so much to everyone who's turned up to support the postal and telecom workers today. Most importantly, though, thank you to the telecom and postal workers who are out there leading from the front. So big round of applause. Take it easy, everyone.
Put their music back on.